Most students know Excel basics, but very few can create a professional GST invoice from scratch. In today's video, I will show you how to build a complete GST tax invoice inside the Excel. Step-by-step guide. Not using any kind of templates over here. We are not downloading any files from the online. Okay. We are building everything manually like a real Excel professional. And then in the second half of this video, I will show you something crazy. We will be using a Microsoft Copilot AI to generate a same invoice automatically. So by the end of this video, you will know both methods, manual Excel skills and AI powered automation. You tell me in the comment section which method is better, okay? Manual or AI? This is going to be one of the most practical Excel project on this channel. So open your Excel, build this together. Okay, on the screen you can see this is the normal Excel. If in case you are a beginner, as you are aware, we always start with very basic. Okay, so whoever it's a new on Discover Talent, so they will also understand how to open a Excel and understand the basic functionality of the Excel. To open the Excel, we have to click on this option Start and then click on this option called Excel. The moment you press, you will see this kind of options available over here. We have to simply press blank workbook over here. The moment you press blank workbook, you can see these are the ribbons available at the top, which we gonna use it while we are editing a particular tax invoices, right? This is your horizontal rule, this is your vertical rule, and on the screen you can see the basic naming I have mentioned over here. This image will help you to understand which particular section says what. Since this series is to create a GST tax invoice inside the Excel, so let's get started. Okay, so let me just move this over here. I'll quickly add couple of formatting over here, which is header, customer sections, GST calculation, okay, so on and so forth. So what we need over here to call this as a tax invoice at the top, okay, since this is the tax invoice for us, and this is the Asha Traders, okay, for me as an example. You can add your own company names over here. Okay, for now I'm just adding the text over here. Suppose here I need a address. Okay, so for now I'll just add the text over here. Later on we'll do the alignment part where we need to move what particular section. Okay, so you can add your address over here. Suppose here I'll say Discover Talent India. Okay, so this is the basic address I have added over here. And suppose if in case you have the phone number and you want to add the phone number over here, simply add your phone number. Okay, and then if in case you need to add any kind of an email, okay, let's do the email as well over here. Okay, and then simply type a Discover Talent Presents @gmail.com. Since we are making this for the tax invoice for Discover Talent, so let me just remove this and add as a Discover Talent Traders. Okay, just an example, hypothetical example over here. And here I'm going to add a GSTIN. Okay, so this is my GST number over here. So I'm not going to add GSTN number over here. Simply I'll just say as a template. Okay, since you are using this as a template, I'll say add your 15-digit pin or whatever you have it, right? So those kind of code you have to simply add it over here. Great. So far we have added the very basic information over here. What we have added over here, we have added the title over here, address, phone number, email address, and then last we have added the GSTN number over here. And here I'll call this as a invoice number. Okay, and let's go next, and let's say invoice date. Suppose this is the due date. I'll just type this as a due date and place of supply. Okay, this is very basic entries I have added over here, and here I'm going to add those invoice number. Suppose invoice number is 001. Okay, so let's say -001. Cool. And here I will call this as a this date, which is control plus semicolon. When I press that, this is the date I got it over here, is equal to this. Okay, and this is my due date. Basically I'll say 3 days. Okay, this is my due date for me. So what I have did over here is equal to the top date and then plus the 3 days added over here. Okay, in your case that can be a different place of supply. So for me it's a Mumbai. Okay, in your case that can be a different, okay, maybe a Gujarat, maybe Pakistan, so on and so forth. Okay, since we have brought it this particular topic over here, comment in the below section on which particular location you are watching this video series. We would love to see those audiences who are seeing this video. Cool, great. So far we have added this entries over here. Now what we need a customer name. Okay, so let's say customer name over here, and again address for the customer. Let's say GSTN for the customer, if in case the customer having any kind of a GSTN ID, so they can add that. Again we can keep this as a optional. Okay, basis the requirement how we want to amend that. Since we are making this as a GST tax invoice, so that's what I have kept it this as a mandate field for now. And then here state code, if in case we are defining any kind of a state code over here, we can add that. Or maybe if in case you don't have any codes, simply remove this. Okay, and you can add that. Suppose here I'll call this as a Delhi. Okay, this is the ID, and here this is my GSTN ID. Okay, for the customer. And if in case you are seeing this kind of an issues, don't get panic. Okay, at the top home there is an option number. Simply convert this into a number and remove this decimals. Okay, now you can see it's been showing in a proper format. Mr. Alok. Okay, I'll say Mr. Alok, and here let's say discover talent address for this, and here I'll call this as a Delhi. Cool, Delhi, India, since we are also from India only, right? So here I'll call this as a Mumbai, comma India. You can add your own address. For now we are just adding these entries over here. Okay, since this details we can see it over here looks like similar kind of this, right? So here to avoid the confusion I will say bill to. Okay, this is the bill to section for me. Let me just arrange this here and even this as well at the right hand side, and here we'll add a copy paste paste and paste. Okay, this is the semicolon we have simply added over here. Okay, and I'm just pasting this semicolons over here. Simply select this, make it bold. Here also select this, make it bold. Arrange this centrally. Great, and let's arrange this as well. So this is how beautifully we can adjust this. Great, likewise I can adjust this as well. Cool. And since we are just typing a text for now, let me just see what exactly what else is we can add it over here, right? So let's go here. Okay, and simply add the headers. Headers could be different. Okay, so in my case I'm saying this as a serial number. Okay, and here I will call this as a description of goods and services. Let's say goods and services. Cool. And here I will call this as a HC. Okay, and SAC, basically here would be a quantity for me. Let's move ahead and talk about rate. Let's go ahead. Here I will call this as a amount, and GST percentage, this is the GST percentage for me, and total GST amount along with this, right? So I'll call this as a GST plus this, so GST will be capital. Great. So far we have added this kind of text over here. Since we are adding the items over here, if in case you have it handy, the any kind of material with you, any goods and services, you can simply plot it those. For now I don't have it, so what I'm going to do over here is I'll say 1, okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and here I will call this as a just a basic, because I don't have it any kind of details with me. I'll just say item description. Okay, in your case, if in case any items you have, okay, any services you want to offer, right? So you can simply add that, and here this is your HCN ID. Okay, let me just copy this, and here I'll simply paste it. Great. And here what I'm going to do over here is, as a dummy number, I'll just say 1. Okay, and here what we need a rate. So since it is a 0.00 for now, I'll just ensure that we'll do it like this. Go at the top, change this to rupee icon, and increase or decrease if in case any zero want to add it. So in my case, if I say 900 over here, it's increasing a 3 zeros over here. I'll decrease this. Okay, so now it will show me this kind of zeros. Okay, so let's test it. 89. So 2 zeros now reflecting over here. Cool. So right now we are just plotting the data over here. Great. So since we have applied already a formatting over here, now what we need a amount to be shown over here. So to get the amount, I'll say is equal to this. Okay, this into my overall quantity. Okay, like this. And let me just do a control D over here. Perfect. So I will get a proper formula driven approach over here. And here this is the GST. Okay, so I'm just adding this as a 18%. Okay, in your case can be a different. I'll just say this 0.18, and I'll click on this option. Okay, the moment you see I press this 1800, okay, and it's showing as a somewhere else. Okay, the value is not really correct. So in that particular case, what you have to do, let's say delete 0.18 and hit a enter button over here. Cool. And let me just add this and drag it at the bottom over here. Perfect. Here I'm going to add one text, okay, which is your subtotal, enter, total GST, enter, and then CGST. Great. 9%. Okay, so and hit a enter button. Let's do a control D over here, and then here let's say SGST. Perfect. So this is how beautifully we have applied these two values over here. And again, the formulas we're gonna add it over here. For now, we are just placing the text over here. Great. So since this is the formula, we'll keep this space as it is for now. Great. Let's go at the bottom over here and call this as a grand total. Okay, and we're gonna add that grand total somewhere here. Cool. Note. Okay, I'll call this as a for enter and state sales, enter and state sales, use IGST. Okay, instead of CGST plus SGST. So this is just a bookmark note for you, since this video is for you as a viewer. Okay folks, always note this kind of a thing over here. Let me just go down over here and see what else we can add it over here. Here I'm going to add a bank details. Okay, if in case you wish to add it, so I'll just say bank details, let's say bank name. Okay, again it's an add-on details. If in case you do not want to add it, okay, just disregard it, don't add it. But since I've seen that multiple tax invoice information is always there, okay, to have a handy for the customers, they always keep this kind of an information. So that's what we are adding this information over here. Cool. Account number, IFSC code. Here we'll call this as a branch. Perfect. And if in case you wish to add that, okay, so let's say bank name, copy this, and here we're gonna add that a bank name over here, enter. Account number, copy this, okay, and paste it. For me, I'm just copying and pasting this because I don't want to display that information over here, since it's for a learning tutorial, right? So you will understand what type of information you have to put in over here, right? That's what we are keeping this like this. Perfect. So this is the bank details. We gonna add it over here. You just have to simply plug that here. Great. If in case you want to add that semicolons at the bottom, you can simply copy those and let's go here and paste it and make it bold if in case it's not really bold already. Cool. And this is one of the most important and best part, I would say rather. Okay. Terms and condition. You have seen this multiple times, right? Whichever bill you pick, right? So those terms and condition you might see at the front of the bill, okay, or maybe the back of the bill. It's always there. Cool. So terms and condition here. Great. So I will call this as a payment is due within, okay, is due within 30 days from the date of invoice. Okay. And here I'll call this as a goods once sold will not be taken back or exchange. These are the basic terms we applied over here inside the tax invoice. Third number, subject to your city. So basically I'll call this as a anything else. Okay, so here I'll call this as a your city. Okay, you can add your own city name over here. Jurisdiction. Okay, and here E and OE at the rate here, shift and person and over here, and let's say OE errors and omissions expect. Okay, so let me just add EXCEPTED. Okay, accepted. Cool. So this is the basic terms and conditions I have applied over here, and you can see the time right now, right? We have added the raw entries over here, each item sale by sale, right? And once we add that particular entries as a custom format, now we are going to change that in a way we can see that best formatting, and we can take the printout, we can share it with our client, customer, whoever is consuming this tax invoices. Okay, now if you see over here, okay, you are supposed to add one entry over here, which is, let me just move this at the bottom, control X and move it over here, and here I will call this as a amount in words. Okay, so blah blah things. Okay, so basically your this particular thing, rupee um, dash underscore only, something like that. Okay, so those kind of details over here we're gonna display it over here. Cool. So you see over here, this is kind of a manual work we have did right now, and what I'm going to do, I'll just adjust this, okay, line by line item. So to do that, what I have to do, first I'll see what exactly the big particular text I have it. Okay, so if I go here, I have this kind of a big chunk for me. I'll copy this, create a new sheet over here, and I'll simply paste it over here. Okay, the moment I paste, this is how it looks. And here I'll delete this because it's not really required. Let me just go at the top, adjust this. Cool. From here as well, I don't really require this space, delete this and adjust this particular table over here. Okay, so later on we'll add that overall formulas over here. For now I'm keeping this as it is. Cool. So let me just go here and do a control B over here, and since you are keeping the formatting like this, okay, so for my case I'm keeping this as a formatting, and this is the overall color code. Okay, so let's keep it light here because at the top we are going to use that. Great. So this is how beautifully I have placed that, control X and moved it over here. Cool. So let me just adjust this like this, select this, centrally align. Cool. And let's go at the top. adjust this again, select this, may make this text also in a center format. So this is how the overall text will look like for me. Cool. So now what we need a top text, but before we add that top text, what we need a build to option. Okay, so here I'll first copy this centrally here, and here I'll just paste it. Cool. So I don't really require that. I'll just do a control X from this and paste it over here. Select this, arrange this properly. Great. And this as well, I'll adjust this properly. Add this semicolon over here since we have removed that from that particular part. So that's what we are adding this as a semicolon over here. Cool. So let's adjust this properly. Select this, make it bold. Great. So this is how beautifully we have added this invoice number, okay, and this particular design over here. And here, if in case you don't really require this, if you see this kind of an anomaly over here, okay, you have the text big, right? And when you adjust this, it's getting a unnecessary spaces over here. So that time you can just say no over here, okay, number, to use a smartness over here, bit like this. Great. Now here we need a build to copy this again, go here, and here let me just paste it again, control X and paste it. Adjust this properly, and here let's say customer, instead of customer name, let's say customer. Adjust this properly, select this, make it control B, and I'll call this as a control B as well for this too. Great. And at the top, now I'm going to adjust this particular text over here. Okay, so I'll select this entirely, centrally align, and merge and center. Go at the top, copy this, go here, double click over here, paste it. Again, select this, merge and center, go here, and this is your trader name, whatever trader you have it already. For me, it's a Discover Talent Traders. Okay, select this again. If in case you have it any specific information, select that. Okay, address and this thing. So what I'm going to do over here is I'll just double click over here, and inside this only the address only, I'll just add the phone number as well, number here only. Okay, instead of adding in the next line. Cool. Here I'm going to add this email ID. Let's see if in case we have the space there. If in case, then we'll simply paste that email also. And here the phone number we already added. GSTN will keep it separately, whatever we have did over here. Okay, so here simply select this until this, make it merge and center again, and keep this your GSTN ID over here. And here now start designing. Okay, so select this, apply this particular color code over here. Let's add this, increase the size would be 22. Okay, here also let's go at the top, adjust this. Okay, increase the size. Okay, and here we are going to add a very basic color code over here. We'll simply add it over here. First check if the white goes with the branding. If it is not, simply remove that particular color code and add as a black. Okay, and once it is done, let's go here and see if it is getting adjusted properly. Cool. Great. So now let me just see what exactly we can add it over here. So at the top we see these particular entries are cool for now. Let's see here. GSTIN ID we have covered the top section. Now let's go at the bottom. Okay, so bottom here I have this subtotal and this thing. Okay, so I'll just go here. Since the bottom I'm going to add it over here, let me just paste it at this particular section, which is saves my lot of time over here. And here, since this is the color code or the pattern we are following, so I'll just keep this as a pattern over here. and here we'll add this as a color code over here. Okay, and this is my grand total where the grand total will reflect. For now we have added this extra space. I'll show you why we have added that, okay, at the end. Cool. So once we good with this, let me just see what exactly we are going to add it over here. Okay, so we can say this, copy this all, go here and paste it. Okay, and here control X, paste it. Cool. And let's say bold, make it italic, and decrease the size for this because it's not really worth it to showcase. Cool. And here if in case you want to increase the size, you can definitely increase the size. If in case you don't want, keep it as it is, that's completely fine. Okay, here if in case you want to add any kind of a color code, you can do that. Okay, and here make it bold. Okay, and increase the size, whatever terms and conditions we have it over here. Let's copy this, go here and paste it. Cool. Again, let's do a control X from this and paste it over here. Control X and adjust it. Okay, why we have did two things. Okay, first we have added the entries over here, and right now we are designing because it gives us a overall glance what exactly we are missing out. Okay, so always don't fall directly into the conclusion. Okay, first draft the sketch. Okay, when you create a basic skeleton for your any template, post the skeleton done, you can start designing as per the requirement. Okay, you will avoid missing out any kind of details over here. Now if you carefully observe over here, my terms and conditions are capital. Okay, these are the terms and conditions, but these bank details are small. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'll just say bank details in capital. Okay, likewise this also amount in words will be in capital. I'll go at the top when this as well, grand total will be in capital. Okay, this is the technique which avoid your errors. Okay, that's what, always maintain two separate things, two separate sheets, whatever template you are maintaining, right? Cool. So this is how we have beautifully did it. And now I'll just check quickly what else we need. Here I'll just apply this, and let's go here, even this as well, select this, apply this, and this particular case I'll gonna select this. Okay, and apply this particular color code over here. Cool. And this is how it looks overall, folks, for me, right? Even this as well, I'm gonna add this. Great. So this is my overall tax invoices, and here since this is the formula driven, now here I'll just clear it out, this particular mess. Okay, and here this is the amount, whatever amount is there, so we have to add the calculations over here. To do that, I'll just say is equal to this into this. Okay, so this is my overall amount I'm getting over here. Since this is the amount, we are going to apply the appropriate currency format over here. This is the currency format we are going to apply it over here, and this is the GST. So GST would be 18%. Okay, so I'll just say 18, and let's go at the bottom and apply this as well, the 18% across all. This is how F15, which is your amount, into G15, which is your GST, divide by 100, and this is how your GST will calculate. GST amount will get calculated over here. Okay, if in case you want to add any logos over here, you can definitely add if in case you want. I'll adjust this properly. Now here I need these particular details available over here, right? So I can see this remaining space is not really usable. So what I'm going to do, I'll just say merge and center over here, and simply go here, apply this, even this as well, merge and center, apply it, go here, merge and center, apply it properly. Cool. Now here I'm going to add a formula. I'm going to add a sum. Okay, sum for this, which is your amount, right? So this is your amount. Hit a enter button over here. Total GST. So total GST would be this. This is your GST amount. Hit a enter button. Now we need a CGST. This, okay. So we have to add a simple formula. Let's say sum. Let's calculate this as a GST. Simply select this as a GST, divide by 2. hit a enter button, and let's do a same thing over here. Cool. Adjust this properly and hit a enter button over here. So this is how beautifully we have calculated this overall CGST and SGST over here, right? Once it is done, what I'm going to do over here is I'll just go at the bottom, and here I can see the grand total over here. Now here in the grand total, you can just say sum, okay, add your subtotal and your total of GST, hit a enter button. So this is how you can calculate the overall grand total over here. And later on, if in case you want this to be shown in rupees, comment in the below section. I'll show you the formula as well. This is how beautifully you can design your tax invoice over here. I'll just add one more line over here, and at the top as well, one more horizontal line over here. And here I'm going to apply a one shape. Okay, so this is the shape for me. I'll go at the top and keep it like this. Delete, keep it like this. Go here, shape format, click on this option, no fill. Great. So this is how your own custom tax invoice, GST invoice has been generated by your own. Okay. Discover talent. Okay. So whenever you take a printout, okay, simply just use this particular space to add the signature. Cool. So this is how beautifully you have created your own custom tax invoice over here. Cool. What I'm going to do, I'll just say Gridlines off over here. And if in case I want to take a printout, I'll just adjust this, and I can see at one particular page, I can take the printout of this tax invoice. I'll just say tax invoice custom. Okay. Why I'm saying custom? Because this is what we have followed as a manual steps. Okay, what we have did very basic and baby steps we have followed. Okay, we have added the text first. Okay, and then one by one line items we have added in the each particular section of the Excel. Okay, there is a no dependency on any online tool. There is a no dependency on any specific repository, or maybe we haven't paid any single penny for creating this tax invoice. Now the magic will start. Okay, if in case you are not really happy with this design, just go at the top page layout and change the color. Okay, simply change this color, and you see your tax invoice has been shown in different color altogether, right? This is the magic, or maybe you can say as a cherry on the cake. This will help you a lot to keep a branding sustain, right? Whenever you are dealing with the client or maybe the customer. Okay, your branding is important, and basis that only your business will shine. And this is how I have pressed the Control P over here, and now you can see the tax invoices. Isn't that beautiful? You can also convert this into a PDF if in case you want. Simply click here, Microsoft print to PDF. Let's do a print, and I can show you the print over here. Okay, let's say this, and I'll call this as a tax invoice. Cool. The moment I do a print, it will take some time to generate, and once it is done, it will show me a tax invoice generated over here. And I'll just double click over here, and you will see at fraction of seconds we have generated a tax invoice. Okay, here. Cool. Again, there is no third party tool we have deployed, or maybe any kind of an APIs we have created inside the Excel itself. Where you are saving this file, save this as a template. Just go here, more options. Okay, and there is an option inside the Excel itself, template. Okay, simply select this option and convert this into a template. So your GST invoice template will be ready, and from today onwards you can reuse this for unlimited invoices. Now let's do something futuristic. What if AI could generate this entire invoice automatically? Let's test Microsoft Copilot. Okay, to do that, what I have to do first, I have to open a this particular section, which is my normal view, and I'll simply click on this option, which is sheet 3. Cool. Here is the exact prompt what I'm going to add it over here. Okay, I'll call this Copilot. Here inside the Office 365, I can see this particular option available over here. Simply click here. Okay, and I'll type very basic English, plain English. There is no jazzy word. If in case you want to add any specific dedicated prompt, okay, I'll speak it out for you. Okay, you can just use it if in case needed. Create a professional GST invoice tracker. Requirement: your company name, add your company address, invoice details, serial number, add your formulas, professional formatting if in case you need a blue headers, white borders, okay, currency formatting, so on and so forth. This kind of an information you can add it and do it. But in my case, since we are explaining this with very basic level kind of thing, right, where from basic to professional, how you can become using a AI, I'll quickly show you. Okay, so here I'm going to type create a GST invoice for Discover Talent Traders. Please keep formulas added. Okay, so I've simply typed this here, and let's see what happens. Okay, if in case there is a change we have to customize, we can definitely do that. But for now, I've simply pressed on the Copilot. So once it is done, what I'm going to do over here is I'll just say next. Okay, it will ask you to save the particular workbook. For now, I'm not really saving. Simply click continue without saving. It will take some time to understand your basic requirement, okay, and it will analyze the data. Okay, it will take some time to populate the details what exactly we need. Okay, sometimes it will use its own brain. However, we have to customize that as per our own choices. Meaning, suppose you need to add a CGST, okay, sometimes your SGST, IGST, basis the country and the state you are working with, right? So we have to customize that. And once you customize that, okay, ensure that you are adding a proper headers as well. Okay, so that particular requirement is from us, right? Because that AI will not understand what is the ask basically. So here we have simply asked the question, and basis that only we are looking out for the details. Since it's consuming the basic information whatever we have typed there, right now it's creating a simple and same tax invoices for us over here. I can see that and I can engage it over here. Now let's see which one is better, because we already use a manual method over here. And now I can see over here at one simple click, okay, just a prompt, it's giving me a appropriate result over here. Okay, and it's asking us to, here if you see over here, this is the caution: AI generated content may be incorrect. So we have to again re-verify whatever it's generating. Once again, manual method teaches deep Excel skills. AI method increases speed. If you only know AI, you become a dependent. If you only know manual work, you become a slower. But if you know both, you become a dangerous in the job market. Cool. Having said that, I can see the tax invoices has been generated over here. Okay, the moment it's done, I can see the naming has been done over here. I'll simply click here and I'll just adjust this. Boom, you see, at fraction of seconds, this is the manual tax invoice over here and this is the automated, right? Which one is better? You tell me, right? So there are formatting or maybe the nuances needed. Here I can see there is nothing as such, right? So we can just easy peasy use this Copilot invoices. I really love this option, and thank you to Microsoft for giving us this opportunity to work on this particular Copilot and make our work life more easy. I want your opinion. Which method do you prefer? Manual Excel creation, which is this, right? Or AI Copilot generation? If this video help you, subscribe to Discover Talent, because on this channel we don't just learn tools, we build real world skills. I hope you enjoyed this series. Thanks for watching. Have a great day ahead.